when exactly do the sanctions come off? A lot of confusion there in what's come out from both sides. If you could clarify that, that would be really helpful. Is it after?
There are still details to be worked out. But I think that the basic framework calls for Iran to take the steps that it needs to around Fordow and the centrifuges and so forth. At that point, then the UN sanctions are suspended, although the sanctions related to proliferation, the sanctions related to ballistic missiles, there's a set of sanctions that remain in place. Mm-hmm. And at that point, then we preserve the ability to snap back those sanctions if there is a violation. If not, though, Iran, outside of the proliferation and ballistic missile issues that stay in place, they're able to get out from under the sanctions, understanding that this constant monitoring will potentially trigger some sort of action if they're in violation. There are U.S. sanctions that are related to Iran's behavior in terrorism, Iran's behavior with respect to human rights abuses. There are certain sanctions that we have that would remain in place because they're not related to Iran's nuclear program. And this, I think, gets to a central point that we've made consistently. If, in fact, we are able to finalize the nuclear deal, and if Iran abides by it, that's a big piece of business that we've gotten done. But it does not end our problems with Iran, and we are still going to be aggressively working with our allies and friends to reduce and hopefully at some point stop the destabilizing activities that Iran has engaged in, the sponsorship of terrorist organizations. And that may take some time, but it's our belief, it's my belief, that we will be in a stronger position to do so if the nuclear issue has been put in a box. And if we can do that, it's possible that Iran, seeing the benefits of sanctions relief, starts focusing more on the economy and its people. And
investment will be coming
in. Starts coming in, and the country starts opening up. If we've done a good job in bolstering the sense of security and defense cooperation between us and the Sunni states, if we have made even more certain that the Israeli people are absolutely protected, not just by their own capacities, but also by our commitments, then what's possible is you start seeing an equilibrium in the region, and Sunni and Shia, Saudi and Iran, start saying, maybe we should lower tensions and focus on the extremists like ISIL that would burn down this entire region if they could. And I've been very clear that Iran will not get a nuclear weapon on my watch, and I think they should understand that we mean it. But I say that hoping that we can conclude this diplomatic arrangement and that it ushers a new era in U.S.-Iranian relations, and just as importantly, over time, a new era in Iranian relations with its neighbors. Because our interest is, the one thing I always tell folks in the region, whatever has happened in the past, at this point, the U.S.'s core interests in the region are not oil, are not territorial strategic concerns. Our core interests are that everybody is living in peace, that it is orderly, that our allies are not being attacked, that children are not having barrel bombs dropped on them, that massive displacements aren't taking place. you know, our interests in this sense are really just making sure that the region is working. And if it's working well, then we'll do fine.